guys.
Hi, everybody. Hello. Don't touch the top of that thing.
This is chaotic. You guys were great today. Legendary SoCal punk bands. Can you talk about what this culture was like coming up compared to how it is now and how it's evolved?
They are young and we are old.
Yes. It was pretty cool back in the day, and now it's even cooler now again.
It's way cooler now.
It's a changing, evolving thing. People can compare and say back in the day it was so cool because of this, but it's always a changing thing. It's always constantly changing. So, you know, like today is actually the day. The moment is the day, actually. You know what I mean? But back then, things were a little more liberal. I mean, in terms of like backyard parties and like gigs and, you know, that kind of stuff. It seemed like you can get away with a lot more.
No iPhones.
Now I sound like one of my parents, like it was different. Like, you know what I mean? But it really was. But that's kind of the gig with that, I think.
Remember when your mom?
Here at this huge gig, which you can't see, but it's big.
What did you say? Remember what?
Remember when your mom used to kick us out for bringing beers in like high school to your house?
Showed up Christmas caroling at the fucking house, which was great. We had the Chatter House is in Fullerton, in Central Fullerton, and like everybody would come during the holiday, and we'd have a bar in the back, a full bar, full band, fire pit. It's a historical home, but these guys showed up singing. It was great. So it was like one of those kind of environments. Really great, really cool. Very fond memory.
She was a
and it just
tough mom, tough
Give me
mom,
a hug.
tough mom.
Oh, wait,
Whoa, no.
Get started, and what kind of challenges did you face starting the band back then? I mean,
it was just, we were just in high school and just playing instruments, having fun, and it ended up just coming together like, you know, a science project. You know, it's pretty weird. Between all the bands that have been around the same, you know, neighborhood, Social Distortion, DI, Adolescence.
Yeah.
We just all kind of trade off back in the day, and it just formed between some of the friends. Started writing songs, and all of a sudden we got the Suburbia gig and did that movie, and it was off from there. We started touring Europe and stuff, and it just was like, kept growing, we kept jamming, and, you know, persevering. And it was like fun back in the day because it was fresh and new, even though today it's kind of, punk rock is kind of like a mainstream kind of situation.
Yeah.
It's fun to look back at how it wasn't, and how we had to kind of battle our own, create our own creativity and our own unique scene.
Yeah.
And it was fun because it was us against the rest of the world, and it was a real vendetta from them to take us out, and it was great. And then the newspapers, all the Hollywood stars, not really Hollywood stars, but
wow, where are you going with this, right?
I don't know, not really sure.
Well, I feel like Penelope Spheeris really put a lot of the bands from the 80s in Southern California on the map.
Right, Lisa Fancher too, Frontier Records. She got, the very first release was Suicidal Tendencies, Circle Jerks, TSOL, Adolescence, and Christian Death's first album for all of those bands. And now all those bands are like bringing thousands of people to gigs.
Yeah.
And it's really trippy because we didn't see that one coming, you know what I mean? But now it's happening because we're having a great time. DI is we're just having the best time of our lives, you know what I mean? Huh, Joey? Awesome. Joey Tatter, Eddie Tatter, Trevor Luca, Clint Calton.
Hello.
That's us.
Clinton.
And Ronnie.
And Ronnie King extraordinaire.
Today at Sabroso Festival.
Ronnie King.
Or Sabroso?
Sabroso.
Say something, Ronnie.
I'm just in the back. It was great, Casey, hearing those stories. And it was like we were almost there. You know what I mean? It's like I could have been there. I could have saw you at the same club, you know?
It's
I was just at a
1982.
different school.
Every day. Summer vacation. is our guitar player, the newest addition to DI, Trevor Luca. We call him Little Joe, like Bonanza. Joe, Little Joe, Little Trevor.
Take those glasses off. Show him your eyes.
What do you think?
Look at the hair on this guy.
Michael Land.
Poster boy.
We hired him because of his good looks. Trevor, what do you think of these crazy guys that I grew up with, the other ones?
I'm happy to be playing with one of the bands I grew up listening to. Saw them when I was 12 years old. You know, it's like a dream come true. So I love you guys. Thank you.
Good answer, Trev. Good answer.
The Rock to Recovery Foundation.
I do, thank you. Yes.
So, what is your role in that, and what is that foundation all about?
Well, it's a non-profit and profit organization, and we go out and we work in treatment centers with people struggling with addiction. We also work with veterans and at youth risk groups. And so, as a result of my being in recovery, I can kind of use my gift of music and punk rock to kind of maybe influence some other kids from not going down.
You were always good.
The music theory. It's a theory, yes. And use that to maybe help some kids that were like me, that you can kind of play music or do whatever you want without getting out of control like I did. Even though we're at a beer and taco fest, I'll just take the tacos, hold the beer. And yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I'm stoked. We got Wes from Korn working for us, Sonny from Snot, so we're a bunch of musicians going around and trying to do a good thing.
And then you, Casey, I heard you said that he kind of helped you a few years back when you had that big thing and got a little bit of trouble.
He saved my life.
Well, thank you, Casey.
Saved my life.
It was a team effort. Actually,
this whole band is pretty much a team effort.
Right.
We all, in some way or another, come to aid our brothers. That's how it is. That's what it's about. We're like a tight unit that doesn't always get along, like brothers don't always get along. We love each other, but we always help each other out. So, Casey's got issues, we got issues. Clinton has issues, we do. Trevor hasn't had any issues yet.
I'm getting there.
He will.
We'll see.
So it all turned around full circle for us to be able to help each other out. We're struggling.
We managed
with
to dodge a
certain
toaster
issues.
or two on the back of the tour vehicle, and then we're friends. We get up on stage and play that night.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
How
that.
could you, Casey? And all of a sudden, they were the best
Casey
of friends.
leaves the RV. I'm going to Texas. I'm going home.
He wanted to make coffee when we were leaving.
Oh, that's right.
He wanted to make coffee, and that turned into like a big ordeal. And you got into it with him, and then
I brought my own coffee maker on tour. I mean,
that was in Reno going over there, dude. That was funny.
Right there it is.
Look,
You can see
Clinton,
it.
there's snow.
But then,
Come back.
Yeah, he's leaving again.
but then they came back, and we were all friends, and we had a show that night.
Yeah,
Back to it, That's the way it goes.
Well, it's just,
right now.
such small quibbles. It doesn't matter.
What is your opinion on the UK punk scene versus like the SoCal punk scene?
In the early days, you had the ocean that delineated the punk scene in the UK. They were like, it was always fascinating to me. But then when they started coming over in the early 80s to be a part of that and to see that, it was like, these guys are fucking great. It was
Amazing.
cool. You had albums like Punk and Disorderly with them.
Punk and Disorderly 1 and 2.
I think they've all kind of cross-meshed now because everything is like so like transcontinental now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's all really cool. It all works together now.
Yeah.
It's cool. You have different scenes. You have the East Coast hardcore scene. You know what I mean? You got those guys. On like
Murphy's Law.
I mean, there is a huge difference. Like, you guys are playing Rebellion. When I was there last year, it's so, even just the sense of humor of British punk, it's very dry. And as a Californian, you're like loud and expressive,
Yeah, well, that's kind of how we are all the time, together.
Constantly joking
especially
on the road.
collectively. Collectively, it's like, every little truck stop, outside of Omaha or somewhere, it's a joke. It's funny.
came out in 2007.
Oh
Do you
my
have
God, it did
plans?
not.
We did an EP in 2012.
Okay. Do you have plans to do another full length
Yeah,
soon?
We're working on stuff right now. We don't really want to talk about it. It's in. We got a bun in the oven, so to speak.
Yes, there is.
Okay.
It's maturating.
Yeah, well, you know,
it's
yeah.
maturating.
Not enough of those.
Yeah, but yeah, we definitely have a bunch of stuff coming up. So we plan on putting out more material, and something should be out probably in a couple months, maybe 2 or 3 months. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'll just say that.
Yes.
I think everything is interesting with you
Blast
guys.
from the past, so to speak, kind of a re-masterpiece.
I wouldn't really say that. Oh yeah, okay, maybe yeah. Okay, I agree with you. I agree.
Casey came up with that one.
Well, we put our stamp on it. We put our brand on it.
We did.
What do you think?
Stamped it.
We put our brand on it, right? You get it?
Yeah, yeah.
I guess
Can you
so.
hear me?
Stamped it.
I think we do.
Did you?
I wasn't paying attention. I was doing
He
this
can't
to
hear.
Casey.
He just can't
I was
hear.
doing this to Casey.
Oh, geez.
We're having a bromance.
TMI.
All right, guys. This was nothing but chaotic, but I didn't expect anything else. Thank you guys so much for taking the time today.
Awesome. Let's
Thank
all
you.
like get
Thank
together
him.
and like.
Thank you, everybody.
Ready?
We're GI, and you're watching Last Rockers TV.